about his pops. I learned from his pops was one of the biggest gangsters in Harlem, New York. And I said, yo, all right, okay, you know what's up? You're gonna listen to those guys. You understand? So New York Freddie said, Puff father sold some drugs to one of their undercover guys. You understand? They arrested him because they had cops on the payroll to, you know, see what you about. He said they brought him the tape and the written confection that Puff father signed.
Period. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Okay, everything prepare yourself for some seriously shocking news. Diddy's father, Melvin Combs, was not just any drug dealer. Upon his death, he was working closely with none other than Frank Lucas, one of the most notorious figures in the drug trade in Harlem, New York. This news puts an end to rumors that have been circulating about Diddy's troubled past, including his mother introducing him to adult activities when he was a child. Everyone thought the enterprise had collapsed, but rumor has it that Jen Diddy has been secretly running the syndicate undercover the entire time, establishing himself as a key player in New York's drug trade. Talk about a crime scene-inspired story twist. It appears that Diddy has more layers than we could have ever thought, and this revelation has left us all reeling. The mess will happen quickly, so hold on to your lace fronts.
Drugs and alcohol now.
Guys, let me tell you, Gene Deal is absolutely relentless when it comes to Diddy. He is not backing down anytime soon. Gene is on a mission to ruin Diddy's life. No joke. Even before all the lawsuits and accusations from 7 different...
Gentlemen, let me emphasize that Gan is unrelenting in his pursuit of Diddy, and he has no intention of relenting anytime soon. Gene is determined to ruin Diddy's life, no matter how many lawsuits and allegations of sexual assault and physical violence there have been. In an attempt to reveal the true Diddy, Gene leaked information about his multiple affairs with businessmen while on the black market, as well as his alleged involvement in hits on Biggie Smalls. Tupac Gene even went so far as to say that Diddy missiled Biggie Smalls' mother about what had happened to her son in order to gain control over Biggie's master's degree and portfolio.
My name, but he told her he didn't know me. Reason he probably did that was because he knew that I was going to tell Ms. Wallace all what happened.
I don't know about y'all, but
That seems like a man with a dark secret. I don't know about the rest of you. Following that, Gene revealed some fascinating information concerning Biddy's attempts to prevent Diddy from obtaining his publishing rights by attempting to take away his rights.
And that Rob
There's more. Gan continues to surprise us with new revelations regarding Diddy's past in an exclusive interview. According to Gene, Diddy purportedly inherited his father's narcotics business.
his father.
Diddy's
get rid of him.
Female, that's something we must analyze thoroughly. Let's get down to business. Diddy's father, Melvin Combs, passed away when he was only 3 years old. Diddy claims he doesn't remember much about his father because he was so young when it happened. It's not surprising that Diddy's childhood might have a role in all of this. Many experts believe a person's childhood significantly shapes who they become as an adult, especially if there is trauma involved. Tons of research suggests that a troubled child often grows up to be an adult. It's quite evident that he must have experienced something quite traumatic as a child. It's a strange story, isn't it? Given that Diddy is said to have grown up around narcotics, one would question how safe his early years were. His dad, the shocking thing, is that Melvin Earl was close to Frank Lucas, a legendary drug trafficker who was known for smuggling heroin into the coffins of the American military. In fact, the movie American Gangster was based on Lucas's life. Even though he was in the U.S. Air Force, Melvin was friendly with Lucas. However, it turns out that Melvin wasn't just a friend, he was also involved in the drug trade. Talk about living on the wrong side of the law. If you think about it, Melvin may have picked up some tips from his old man about living a double life. But wait, things get even crazier. The brothers of Melvin, the entire Combs family, appear to have a hand in the drug trade, as stated by Diddy's uncles. Melvin, on the other hand, passed away tragically while Diddy was still a toddler. Diddy has always talked about how his father's death affected him. For example, he once said, "My father was a hustler. He was a drug dealer and he was a hustler, so I learned early in life that there's only two ways out of that dead." That's right. There have been times as I've gotten older that I've missed my father's presence. There are things you would ask your father, and there are also things you would celebrate with him that would make him proud. In a different interview, he boasted about how his father was a drug dealer. That claim that Diddy didn't exactly prioritize academics is absurd. We all know that he dropped out of Howard University pretty quickly because the street life called to him louder than the textbooks ever could. Diddy doesn't need to pretend otherwise, and it's kind of strange how he praises his father so highly given his dad's shady past. Melvin Combs was close to Frank Lucas, a big-time player in the drug world, so you'd think that connection would have something to do with. Participant in his work, everything is entangled around Diddy's family's past. During an interview, he claimed, "Melvin is a good friend of mine." That's Puff. The interviewer asked if you and Melvin were just friends or business partners, to which Lucas replied, "All the above. We did business and we were good friends. He was really a good friend of mine." The interviewer also asked if Lucas remembered how he met anyone, to which Lucas replied, "We were all out there on 7th Avenue and everybody knew everybody out there." Despite our good relationship, things took a turn when federal authorities targeted Frank Lucas' syndicate and needed an insider. Melvin ended up becoming their unintentional pawn. Melvin was allegedly executed in Central Park West, where witnesses described a grisly scene with fatal gunshot wounds to the head despite evidence suggesting a targeted hit. Although his death was officially attributed to a botched drug deal during a larger operation bust, no one was ever formally charged for his murder, leaving his death shrouded in mystery and controversy. Although there were reports that Melvin was a snitch, he was coerced into helping the feds without his knowledge, leading to dire consequences. Reports indicate Melvin's phone was tapped and he was under surveillance. Lucas angrily refuted this, stating that Melvin was a close friend who visited his home frequently during the week and was essentially a resident. Even though Melvin met a tragic end, it doesn't mean that he was immune to scrutiny. In fact, the feds pursued him in a posthumous case that revealed his alleged involvement in New York's drug scene in 1973. Melvin was named in a large-scale drug conspiracy, but by the time other people were brought to justice, he had already shuffled off this mortal coil. The prosecutors suspected that Melvin's death had connections to other shady characters in the mix, though the details are still unclear. If Melvin hadn't met an untimely end, there's a good chance he would have faced drug charges and been caught up in the legal maelstrom, much like the others talk about a wild ride through the gritty streets of New York after his father passed away. When Diddy turned 12, his mother, Janice, took great care to protect him from the rough edges of life he might have inherited. She quickly moved him and his sister from Harlem to Vernon, New York, where she worked many jobs. To cover Diddy's expensive school tuition, speaking about this, he stated that up until the age of 12, I lived in Harlem. When my father was killed, my mother moved us out of the inner city, but my grandmother continued to live there, so I went back and forth. I remember the little things about Mount Vernon, like the grass and the fact that I could play baseball there. In Harlem, there was no Little League, no front yard with grass, but the neighborhood was multicultural, which expanded my horizons. In 1987, Janice sent Diddy to Mount St. Michael Academy, an all-boys Catholic school. Can you believe that? He was the only boy enrolled in a Catholic school, and to top it off, he even served as an altar boy. That's a plot twist. Janice was determined to give Diddy the best chance at life, even if it meant stretching the budget and going into debt in the face of rampant crime. Janice told the truth regarding Melvin Combs' demise during a 2006 interview with Oprah Winfrey. Diddy, under wraps, disclosed that Mom had made up a story about his father dying in a car accident with the explicit intention of preventing him from following in his father's footsteps. Then known as Diddy, he talked about how he discovered the true cause of his father's death. Mom tried to protect me, but it turns out that her cover-up didn't hold water. He went further until he discovered the truth about a family saga that had more twists than a roller coaster ride. My mother didn't want me to follow in his footsteps, so she was selective about whatever things she told me. My father was a hustler who sold narcotics during his time. He claimed that playing basketball or doing so was the only way out of Harlem. When I was a little child, I was able to connect the dots and realize that my father, who served in the Army and ran a limousine service, was shot in a vehicle accident. During your father's May 2014 Howard University commencement speech, I used to run with him, and he would tell me that all of my uncles were also street hustlers. It seemed like the streets in Harlem always knew my family's last name. Combs, when Diddy looked back on the time he spent learning the truth about his father's passing, he remembered being in the university library and coming across a newspaper article that detailed his father's tragic end in a failed drug deal. You would think that because of his parents' difficult circumstances, they worked 2 jobs and almost went bankrupt, that Diddy would stay straight and avoid getting involved in any messy drug life, but that wasn't the case at all. Even at his private Catholic school, where Diddy managed to rub elbows with the wrong crowd. According to reports, he befriended Andrew Campos, a member of the infamous Gambino crime family from La Sonora. They even talked about balancing academics with some surprising extracurriculars after graduating and continued to play football together as Street Michaels. Let's take a wild ride through Diddy's relationships and purported ventures. Andrew Campos, whom Diddy knew in school, eventually rose through the ranks to become a captain in the Gambino family. Even then, Diddy certainly knew how to keep life exciting. In 2022, Campos was charged with money laundering and wire fraud by RICO, which earned him a comfortable 37-month stay in the mansion. However, the fun doesn't end there, so grab a seat. Gene Diddy claims that in addition to taking over his father's business, he also aimed to grow it beyond its origins in Harlem. According to Gene, Diddy attempted to expand his sphere of influence as far as Detroit, Michigan. You may recall the Jane Doe lawsuit that made news last year. A decade earlier, Mr. Combs founded Bad Boy Records and installed his longtime friend Mr. Pierre as president. At the time, Mr. Combs had many connections to Michigan, including to the Black Mafia family BNF, a drug trafficking and money laundering organization that is rumored to have. In and around Michigan's Detroit, let's discuss Diddy's propensity for placing celebrities in dubious situations. Cassie Lil Rod, for example, has been involved in a few lawsuits. However, the real problem is that Diddy usually takes these celebrities under his wing, and let's be honest, it's not straightforward to say no to Diddy. Take rapper Machine Gun as an example. Kelly, who signed with Bad Boy Records in 2011, revealed, for instance, that he was given something to smoke that was, let's say, extraordinary. We're not talking about your typical puff here. Kelly stated, "I'd smoked something that Puff had given me. It was as if I had partied like 3 nights straight. I'm about to go to the airport. I need something that'll knock me out." It totally did the opposite. "I was doing crazy dance moves to the weirdest music for 20 minutes straight, like a wow." Kelly made it clear that whatever Diddy had him puffing on was on a whole other level. "He was talking on the phone, and I was standing outside the window, staring in. He was saying to me, 'Man, this kid's nuts,' which was really disturbing." Now, Hollywood isn't exactly new to the drug trade. In fact, it's practically a cliche, but Diddy stands out because he's been accused of selling and dealing the stuff. Just consider this. The feds didn't just arrest his alleged associate Brendan Paul at Miami International Airport. Instead, they caught him red-handed with some white powder and a number of other dubious items. This is ridiculous, and Katt Williams claims that Diddy has been running his father's business for a long time, using bad boy records as a front. The feds are attempting to bring down the drug empire once more, and as all of the fans commented, this is coming full circle again. "I strongly believe that the things that happened to your parents could happen to you, which is why they withheld information from you. As a result, you should be mindful of your daily actions and habits." After learning this, it makes sense why Diddy blew up Q's car. He really broke from the NFS's code of conduct regarding car explosions, and it's no wonder he's effed up. This is a hot mess, but please let me know your thoughts on it and then watch the next video.